From the 22 News Plus studio, this is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of InFocus. I am your host, Patrick Berry. We're here in the 22 News Plus studios today, learning about your local Chamber of Commerce. They do a plethora of work in our communities, not only for residents, but mostly for businesses. Joining me across the desk today is Grace Barone. She is the Executive Director of the East of the River Chamber, Five-Town Chamber of Commerce. Grace, thank you so very much for joining me. I know a little bit about chambers of commerce, but maybe a lot of people don't really understand what a chamber does. Give me a bigger picture of what a local chamber of commerce does for a community.
Okay, so the Chamber of Commerce represents the businesses within for us, the 5 towns that we represent. And we bring businesses together because it's not just, we represent big, mid-size, and small businesses. And so a great way to help that small business grow many times is helping them find ways to collaborate with other businesses within the community. So we're always looking for opportunities to elevate our businesses and bring them together and find a common ground to work from and to collaborate. Because when our businesses are successful, then here comes the other piece, our communities thrive. And it's important that we build the two together. And that's what the ERC5 is here to do.
So
connect.
You work with all size businesses. So it could be a solopreneur,
Yes.
Who's maybe a plumber
or shop on Main Street.
Yeah, a little shop, a retailer. It could be a manufacturing facility. It's
yes.
Any and every type of business.
Yes, absolutely. All businesses, because our small businesses are the lifeline of our communities.
Well,
They really are.
It's funny you say that. I think there's a statistic out there that says 90% of Americans work for what's considered a small business. 90% of workers work for a small business. We all think of these massive places like Bay State Health or Mass Mutual, which employ a lot of people, but most people work for a small business.
Yes.
So, but you take all those businesses, whether it's the big ones like a Bay State or Mass Mutual, or and the small ones, and connect them so that they're able to each grow.
Yes.
And serve the community.
Yes.
Okay. How do some of those businesses work together?
So, for instance, an example, we had a business. We have a business out in Wilbraham, and she's a small coffee shop. And the wonderful thing is, so she was starting out before she moved into her new location. We introduced her to a local bank. And from there, a wonderful collaboration came. She is a fabulous baker. She baked sugar cookies. And then she put their logo on her sugar cookies.
Oh, cool.
So isn't that fantastic? That's just one example of a bigger business supporting that small business on Main Street to keep them there and keep the community thriving. Because we all love to go out for our morning walks. And then we all have our favorite coffee shops to stop in and visit. But it's wonderful when you give them an opportunity to expand on other ways to generate revenue. Because we don't want them to close. We want them to be there for us. And providing that concierge service to a bigger business is a wonderful way to grow that small business.
In your travels, how have you found the onset of the internet, and how has that impacted local businesses? Does that make your chamber that much more valuable to give businesses a way to connect versus just being online?
Yes, I think so.
Simple answer.
Yes, I think so. Because together we can make that happen. I don't believe we are going to be able to bring back those little department stores that we had on our main streets. Because when we talk to the community, everyone says, "Oh, I miss the days when I could go, down to East Street and everything would be right there." And it's like, yes. But if it was there, would you go to it, or would you check it out and then check out what's online and then do that? We need to show the community the value of having that little gift shop. We have a couple of them
But
within
commerce
our
has
chamber.
changed. I mean,
Yes.
the local economic commerce has changed dramatically. I love the nostalgia of, I'm from Westfield, as most people know. I love the nostalgia of having walked down Elm Street in Westfield and gone to all the little stores. But that's not going to
No,
happen
that's
again.
not. We're not going to return back
Right.
to that department store. Like yourself, I grew up in Ludlow. Isn't it great? We needed uniforms
Yeah.
for
You and I could probably
phys
rattle
ed.
off dozens of little
Yes.
stores that we
And
went
we
to.
would hit up like East Street, and it's like, oh, I'll go get my uniform, and then we'll walk across the street and do this. And you hear so much now about those walkable cities
Right.
and how important they are. But one, we don't have that walkable infrastructure yet, and we have to figure out, how do we maintain the businesses on Main Street that we have? We don't want to lose them. We will not be able to return to the days that you and I reminisce about.
Right.
But how do we support the ones that are there and make sure that they're there for years to come? And that's where collaborating with other businesses and making sure we get the message out to the communities. We need to support. If we want to maintain our main streets, we want to have that great little bakery, that great little coffee shop where we all come together and everybody knows each other's
Right.
names. We have to think local. Get out there, support your local. And like the gift shops I was describing, we're very fortunate in the ERC5. We have 2 phenomenal shops. And you know what? You can go online and order it, and you take a chance. Because sometimes
Absolutely.
it doesn't come the next day, does
Absolutely.
it? But I could get in my car, drive to see Sandy or Nancy, and I walk in and they know me, and it's like, hey, I'm going to someone's housewarming party, and this is what it's like, and what would be a good gift? And they'll help me pick out the gift. They'll wrap it for me. And I walk out the door, and I've had a great visit with them.
And you've
I've
supported a
them.
small business.
Yes. And that's what we have to think about, is support the businesses that we have.
Absolutely.
We're not going to be able to go backwards, but let's support those that are here and just shop locally for everything you need, because usually they're the people in our community.
Exactly.
And they give back.
You got that right. We're going to come back to that in just a moment. There's plenty more to talk about with our local business economy. So stay with us. We'll be right back after this.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of InFocus. Grace Barone with the East of the River Chamber, Five-Town Chamber, is across the desk for me today. We're talking about the value of your local chambers of commerce. Grace, thank you again for joining me. When we went to break a few minutes ago, we talked about those little gift shops, the things you can do. And, one of the things that I talk to people and mention to them if they're thinking about opening a business is do something you can't do online.
Mm-hmm.
We can do virtually everything online, but you mentioned those little gift shops where you have an idea. How much time did you want to spend on your computer taking that idea, doing the research, figuring out what to create as a gift?
There's a lot of time you put into doing that.
Buying all the items, or you make a phone call or jump in your car and make a quick stop.
Yes.
Those are the benefits of having a local business.
Yes. Just like with that local coffee shop. So you have some people coming into town. You're a small insurance company, let's just say,
Right.
for the sake of the conversation here. And you've got some clients coming into town. Oh my gosh, what do I do? You know what? Maybe we could meet at the local coffee shop. And I just call ahead. They have a small room waiting for me. They've got coffee. They've got Dana. They have everything I need. And I haven't had to say to my assistant, hey, can you run out, get the coffee, do this, do that. It's all been taken care for me.
Exactly.
And that's what our small businesses do. We should look at them as that concierge service, that as a mid to big size, larger business.
You might pay a little bit more for that.
Yes,
but
the time you save.
Exactly. The weight off your mind is all done. I want to shift gears a little bit to talk about how you work with local legislators, whether it's our statewide legislators or our local mayors and town councils.
Yes.
How does a chamber of commerce work with those groups of people so that they better understand their local business community and the needs of those business operators?
So I am very fortunate. I have a fabulous legislative team, if you will,
Okay.
that we work with. So we have our state reps, we have our state senator. I have a ribbon cutting, or I have a business that's celebrating an anniversary, and it's like, hey, I've got this happening. Can you come out and support us? This is what's going on. And they always make it a point to be there.
Good.
Recently, we had a ribbon cutting on a Saturday, and I put the call out, and they all came out to support because these are their constituents.
Right. And
what better way for them to know what they're about and who they are and what their needs are. And that's actually what the very insightful State Rep Brian Ash shared with me, because I was very grateful that he made time.
Right.
Him and Senator Oliveras, Representative Pupolo, they were all there. And I was very grateful for that. But they were all grateful to be there, because this is how we connect with our businesses. And we also include our town administrators, our select boards, and they've all come out for events to support.
But are there opportunities where those business folks can share concerns with those officials about, hey, here are the obstacles I'm facing? It could be something as simple as this stoplight that's in front of our building or there's this lack of a stoplight on our street is causing problems. I mean, are there ways where businesses, through the chamber, businesses and elected folks come together and solve issues?
Yes. So sometimes it's a matter of calling the chamber and saying, hey, we would love it if we could get, a bus stop in front of our business.
Right.
We've just hired several people. They have no transportation. How can we make this work? And it's like, I think if we put you in touch with Representative so-and-so, let's see how we can get this moving forward. And we were successful in doing that. So that was great. It's always keeping our legislators out there so that our businesses realize these are the people working for you. You can connect with them personally,
the employers,
or utilize us, and we will connect you with them. We have a legislative breakfast every year where we bring in our legislators. We bring in all of our local towns, the administrators, police, fire, because we want our businesses to know these are the folks in the community that are here to support you. Know who they are, so that when possibly you have a concern, you know who to turn to and who you can ask the questions of. And if maybe you're not getting anywhere then you contact us and we'll get you in touch with other folks who might be able to help you. And we'll find common ground and negotiate.
Okay.
Because we want what's best for the community and the businesses. And sometimes it's not my way or no way. It's finding that common ground and
middle
working
ground,
from there.
finding a solution.
Yes.
How do businesses become a member of a chamber? Is it a fee structure that businesses have to pay to be a member?
Yes.
So simple answer is yes. Okay, that answers that.
Yes, and it's based on number of employees. We have a tier level, so that's how ours work. And I think for the most part, most of our chambers operate in that way.
So based on that tier level, number of employees, your biggest company, they may be paying more than your smaller company, but they're getting the same services from the chamber.
Yes.
No matter the business size.
Yes. Everybody gets the same services. We are all about providing member value for our membership. And for instance, we do a podcast, and it's a small podcast, gives everyone 15 minutes to deliver their message. And our small businesses are always ready to come on because they want to share their brand let the community know how they can help. Our bigger businesses get a little bit more recognition. They're in the news, or the newspaper's running an article. They send out a press release. So some of them do come on, but you find that those smaller businesses see greater value in that. But then we get to advocacy, and our bigger businesses might need a little more advocating. than the smaller
Okay.
businesses. So it all balances out. We provide different benefits so that we can represent all
Everyone as a whole.
businesses, small, medium, large.
Fantastic. We are up on our second commercial break. We're talking about your local Chamber of Commerce. Join us for more when we come back after this.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of InFocus. Across the desk from me today is Grace Barone. She is with the ERC5 Chamber of Commerce. Grace, thank you very much for joining me. I didn't even ask you this earlier. Which 5 towns are you the Chamber of Commerce for?
Yeah, so we represent the towns of East Longmeadow, Hamden, Longmeadow, Ludlow, and Wilbraham.
Oh, very good. Very
Yes.
good. You know, we talked a lot about the businesses that are contained within those communities and how they benefit from a chamber. But there's also what I think a lot of people don't realize, the chambers work a lot with local nonprofits too.
Yeah.
But how does that interaction help?
Well, that interaction helps in numerous ways, depending on what the nonprofit is. And just as an example, because recently, very grateful to you for coming out again to support the Alzheimer's Association and the walk. But the Alzheimer's Association, they provide amazing services.
Right.
And if I'm an employer and I've got some employees, and I noticed that like a longtime employee who's been with me for 20 something years is struggling. It's not quite right. And she's showing up for work a little bit late. And those were never qualities. Sometimes as you have maybe that one-to-one with your employee, you learn that, oh my gosh, they're caring for their loved one right now.
Right.
And we know the toll that takes. So then you look to the Alzheimer's Association. They have support groups. They have 24-hour hotlines. They have programs available that can help. And that's where our nonprofits come in. They play a great service. If we're looking at it from the perspective of a business and you're hiring people, the fact that Square One has this amazing program in Springfield enables you to hire a mom or a dad to work for you because they have peace of mind that their child is safe and flourishing.
And not only that, a lot of employees, like here at 22 News, we're all involved in other things, all nonprofit. We all help nonprofits. So the employer has to understand and recognize that the employees are getting involved to make their communities better by working with nonprofits.
Yes.
So the businesses need to support those organizations.
Yes. And I think our businesses do a phenomenal job of doing that. The need goes out right now. The food bank. We're all right there. Our businesses are like, hey, I'm going to do a food drive. I'm going to do a food drive. Let's figure out how we get through this. There will always be challenging times.
Right.
But our nonprofits serve a purpose. And during those challenging times, the beauty of a chamber and a community is that we come together and we say, we realize these SNAP programs are in trouble right now. How can we help? And sometimes it's just, obviously donations and money are great, but it's your time and talent that is needed.
Absolutely.
And I think that's beautiful that so many businesses, like here at 22, you've incorporated that into like your mission.
Exactly.
As an employee, this is what we would expect from you.
One other aspect I don't think a lot of people understand about their local chambers of commerce is the involvement of our youth, of our high school kids, and maybe even younger, sometimes even the middle schoolers. Why is that? Why does our Chamber of Commerce, work with our kids? What's the point of that?
Well, for me, as soon as I came into Chamber, I started working with the River East School.
Okay.
In Palmer organization. Amy, she's absolutely fabulous, does a great trade show down at the Basketball Hall of Fame. But we started working with her in Minnechaug, and I have had an intern every year I've been here.
Okay.
I learned so much from my interns. I really
it's a
think
two-way street.
I'm the one. They're very grateful and love what they've learned, but I am so grateful for them. And there is a lot to be learned from them. And in doing that, it was like, wow, we need to tap into these students, and not just when they're seniors.
Right.
And then, try to get them to visit our colleges and think about staying here. Let's engage them with our business community earlier than that. And that's where we've created a career pathways committee. And we're trying to figure out, how can we do that? I'm very fortunate when I get my interns. It's, we sit down, let's learn what it is you are interested in. What is your focus? And then what I do is we spend days, weeks with different businesses.
Okay.
I had a fantastic young man who finance was his thing. And he just wanted finance. And I said, Julian, you got to experience other things that go with finance. It could be banking. It could be nonprofit.
Right.
So we went to visit everyone. And he was phenomenal. He absorbed everything. He came to all our networking events. It was like, I just have to clear it with my teacher at school. And I would really like to be there. And he would come to everything.
Good.
He connected with all of our businesses. And I'm so delighted to be able to share with you that for 3 years, he went to Bentley. He comes back in the summer, and he has worked with a different business of the ERC5.
Fun.
Every year.
I mean, how much on-the-job training has that high school kid and college kid learned just by doing that internship?
Yes. And
an incredible amount.
This is phenomenal. And like last year's intern, he shared with some friends who weren't in the Minichog program, who contacted the chamber and said, I want to meet other businesses. And that's when we started the Career Pathways Committee. So how can we help those students that, like, I have a young man right now, and he's like, I'm going to be an engineer. That is great. And he goes, but I want to do what you did with Brady. I want to meet different businesses and learn more about engineering. I was like, oh, how am I going to do this? But you know what? I made a call to Cartamundi, to Andy Kroll over there. And he's like, I could use a whole bunch of engineers right now. But what if we do engage with these students?
Right.
And we show them what it is that we can do and how we can guide them. Because there's so many success stories out there. I mean, I could name a whole bunch of businesses that were where so many of people in leadership roles in our communities, that's where they started.
Oh, absolutely.
Like absolutely. John Mayberry.
Right.
Phenomenal. The amount of people that came to him weren't going to go to school. And all of a sudden, they spent a few years with him. They learned from him, and then they went to school in the evening. And now they're leaders in our community in various aspects. But he opened doors for them. So let's open those doors for our youth.
And let the kids understand there are a plethora of career opportunities in our area. Great way of life, more affordable way of life, even though it's expensive everywhere, but it's more affordable here than Hartford area, Boston area, and so forth.
Exactly.
But Grace, if people want to learn more about the ERC5 Chamber, do you have a website that people can go to?
Yes. They can go to ERC5.com, and everything is there. If you have an inquiry and you want to send it to me, you can do it there, and it'll be forwarded to me. And many of our services and resources are there, so you can explore all that we do.
Fantastic. Grace, thank you so very much for joining me and educating me and our viewers about what a local Chamber of Commerce does. Good seeing you.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you to you and 22 News for all that you do for our community as well.
It is our pleasure to help out the local community. Thanks, Grace.
Thank you.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.